to the next level.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Coach Tiffany Parra, Editor-in-Chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. Today, I am taking center stage on the Own It Magazine and Publishing platform with one of my amazing contributing writers. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on in. You guys have seen him a few times before. What's going on, Jeffrey? How are you?
Hey, Tiffany, how you doing?
Good, good. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing awesome.
Awesome. Well, look, everybody, Jeffrey is back. But for those who do not know Jeffrey, please take a minute just to introduce yourself, just who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit about what you do.
Sure. Thanks, Tiffany. It's always a pleasure to grace the stage with you. And I'm Jeff Berger. I live in Cape Coral, Florida, with my husband, Joshua. And in fact, tomorrow will be 13 years married and 18 years together. And we have our dog, Zoe, and our cat, Zorro. I am currently the CEO and founder of Abundance and Optimum Wellness, where I believe we all should be living in abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And I'm a true believer in circumventing our current broken and corrupt systems.
That's right. It's all about shaking it up just a little bit, right?
Got it. You got it, girl.
So let's dig a little deep right now, Jeffrey. So let's talk about who Jeffrey really is. Let's go into just a little bit about your story, because you have just a phenomenal story, and I mean you're a hero in my eyes, because you have done such amazing things for yourself in all aspects of life. So let's talk about who Jeffrey really is.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm a typical baby boomer kid who grew up in the country and attended school and was involved with sports and music, and sports was swimming and soccer. I did try, let's see, in the fall I tried basketball, but my twin brother was the basketball player. I was soccer and gymnastics, and then I was a swimmer diver. Basketball's in the winter. I was not interested in football. Oh well, it is what it is. So and then in the spring it was track. So I was a 100-yard dasher, 220 sprinter. So those are the sports I was in. But I did a mixture. I wanted to diversify. I mean, I didn't want to just do sports. I was involved in the school plays, and I took a lead role in one of them, and getting involved with different school activities. So I was very, very active as a kid. And then I also played piano. I was a classical pianist. Wow. And that went on for about 10 years. And then I went off to college, and college was, I entered into the first school that offered the physician's assistant program. Okay. Back in 1972, 73 was the very first class. I went in for the second class. They only accept 65 people, and I was number 66 or 67. So I missed out by that, but I still went to the school anticipating I could get into the program the following year. And things started to change, and I ended up back in Buffalo and went back to college for music, theater, and dance. And during those years of college, I was a dance teacher and was teaching internationally. and I and locally here as well. So that was really a passion of mine that I wanted to pursue,
Mhm.
because when I really got into the physician's assistant program, because I was an orderly when I was in high school for a job, and I thought it was really, really cool, and I wanted to help, with health, because there's a lot of stuff going on back then. But when I really looked into it, I started to dive into the pharmaceutical aspect of it, and it kind of turned me off. So that's why I left that one into music, theater, and dance. I ended up in New York City with the New York City Jazz Company, performing with them, and then I fractured my back, so I couldn't perform professionally anymore, and that's what got me out of that.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, it's amazing, just the diversity that you've had, in your life, and, looking at how you live life now. I mean, that really planted, that seed has been planted for a very long time,
Yeah,
for you to do the things that you do. And it's just amazing just to kind of see it now in a different light, right?
sure, yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah, my
let's
grandma, real quick, my grandmother she played the organ and the piano. And when I was a kid, we'd go down to her house in Pennsylvania. I'd sit
Yeah.
down at the piano and start playing, and she would go over to the organ and just start picking up. She played by ear. I was so jealous of her. She played by ear, and that's kind of where the music really got embedded for me. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. She played by ear. See, and now that right there is really, really hard. Oh my gosh. My father was able to play by ear as well. And my son picked up a little bit of that too. So
Oh,
it's kind
nice.
of
Yeah.
see. Yeah, he does that with the guitar. So,
Good.
so you had mentioned a little bit about the injury with your back. So that, we've spoken a little bit in the past,
Yes.
and that forced you to enter into this whole corporate world. Um,
Right.
what was that like? I mean, again, we've had so many conversations about corporate and just
Yeah.
the rigmarole behind it. But yeah, so what was that like for you? Just having to, leave something that you're very
Sure.
passionate about
Yeah,
and
exactly.
go into, I mean,
In the
let me,
corporate world. Yeah, I mean, it was very devastating, because I really was, really advancing in my career down there, attending auditions. I did some professional performance, as well as in New York City. But obviously, with a fractured back, you don't have the resilience that you do.
yeah,
So I bit the bullet, and I ended up moving to, well, during my recovery period, I went to Columbia University and took a course on micro applications programming, and that got me introduced to the computer era.
mhm,
And from there, when I finished the course, I went up to Boston, because I went to New York to perform and be in theater and dance, and that wasn't working. So the next best thing was to go to Boston, because of the high tech area,
yeah,
MIT and Cambridge, and all those high tech industries are up there. So I went up there, and I actually landed my first job with Lotus Development,
oh wow, okay,
and with my certificate, and that was the start of my 27 years in corporate America as a software engineer. However, I will interject that I was fortunate, although I couldn't perform. Um, from a professional level, I was
mhm,
able to get involved with community theater. I directed, I choreographed, and I also performed, and from a community theater perspective. But my last performance was Chorus Line, and it was done. Laurie Gamache played Cassie on Broadway for, oh my God, probably 20 years.
yeah,
And or maybe 10 years. I don't remember exactly, but she was the director, and she played Cassie. So that was my last performance, and did two performances of The King and I. So, and my second performance with The King and I, Chula Longhorn was my son in the show of The King, and that was played by none other than Chris Evans, Captain America.
mhm,
So,
wow,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
But yeah, but then I unfortunately left corporate America in 2000 and August 15th of 2015 from
wow.
total burnout.
And seeing that, it's so sad that that happens. I mean, there are some individuals that can be in a corporate environment, and there's some good corporate environments. I'm not going to put any, all corporate
Sure.
environments down, but like you said, there's some broken systems here, and I think at some point we, for whatever reason, it's in some corporates, we are a number, and they don't care about our mental, they don't care about us leaving our desk like we're supposed to, getting up, and they would rather us not. If we walk away, they come by our desk or come by, it's like, wait, where were you? Right.
Yep, absolutely.
So why, ultimately, like, what happened let's talk about what happened in corporate America with you and your situation, and why you ultimately had to just go ahead and leave that.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a sad situation. I mean, I was devastated having to leave my passion, went into corporate, then started to fall in love with what I did because it's a creative side. I was a software quality assurance engineer, so I went in and I broke things. I tested the systems that were being developed. So that took a unique way of thinking and looking at from a user perspective. So that was something that I enjoyed. But over the years, I just found that corporate America was putting on more demands for salaried employees. We weren't paid by the hour, and those that are, obviously they work a 40-hour week, they get paid. But if they work overtime, they get time and a half, or even regular time. That didn't happen for us. And the older I got and the more experienced that I became, I found that there were more and more demands put on by management. And unfortunately, what I've come to realize in those situations, most of those managers are clueless to what it takes to, do the work that we need to do. And it got to be where I was working 7 days a week. I had no life and work balance. Up in the morning at 5 o'clock, in the office at 6, and wouldn't leave till 9, 10 o'clock at night. And this just went on and on and on. And that took a real big toll on mental health and physical health. But then, I got into several situations where the environment was toxic, it was hostile, it was sexist. And I know that a lot of women say that it's a man's world, but most of my bosses were women, and some of them were vicious, really vicious, and just saying very, very crude things in meetings, and it just got out of hand. So, and it's like certain things, it's do as I say or else. You have no voice. You just have no voice. So I got to the point where I just needed to leave. It was in my best interest from a physical and a mental perspective, because my physical health was declining rapidly.
Yeah, yeah, and it's good that you took that stand for yourself, because some people don't, and they wind up, getting to a point where they're in the hospital, and they're having heart attacks, and they're strokes, things like that, because they're just not seeing the signs and not honoring themselves like you did, saying, hey, it's time for me to go. So
my last position I was out actually on disability for 6 months. And within the first 2 months, I started to really come down and get relaxed and get my health back together. But the day that I returned to work, I started to drive to the office, and I could feel my blood pressure going up. I could feel my hands on the wheel really tightening up and my knuckles turning white. And I'm getting flustered. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going back to the same situation. And as soon as I pulled into the parking space, I said, I've got to do something about this. I walked into my boss. I said, you've destroyed my health, and my career, and I can't take this anymore. Here's my resignation. I quit today. And she said, you can't do that. I said, watch me. So I went to my desk, got my stuff, and walked out. So yeah, you have to do what's best for you. I mean, and I walked out like this, because I never got fired from a job, and I've left jobs, but I've never, for better careers and enhancements and better positions, but never like this. This is the first time, and oh my God, I was in my 50s when that happened. So
Wow. Oh, well, I'm glad that you're in the space that you are now to help us and educate us on, some just
yeah,
amazing things on just how to be holistically healthy. So let's talk a little bit about your TV show and your TV series on Mupo Entertainment. You are on now.
season 6. I'm starting season 6 today. Later today.
Wow.
So yeah. I mean, it's
Amazing. That
yeah.
is a so what made you decide to create your own TV show? I mean, and yeah,
I
tell us
think
a little
I,
bit
I think
about it.
I think that there was somebody like in a pink shirt and bleached hair with glasses on her head that was part of that catalyst to make me get into my uncomfortable zone. But between you and JoJo introducing me to Michelle Mupo and the opportunity, it's like, you know what? Why not? You got to step into your uncomfortable zone and become comfortable to get to the next level. And I'm just like truly amazed that I'm in season 6, and I started out the first 4 seasons with the physical and mental health. I mentioned earlier about physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial fitness, living that kind of lifestyle, and most people are not doing that.
Right.
So I started with the first 4 seasons on physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and then the 5th season went into financial. And then this season, I'm kind of branching off and evolving and what is it, transforming into um, holistic true wealth. And true wealth is not about money. It's about the combination of my formula, living a life of abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. So the first 4 years, it was all this stuff over here. And then or I should say the 4 seasons. And then the 5th season was financial.
Yeah.
And so now my formula has come together, and now it's evolving. So now I can incorporate all of it, because true wealth is really the combination of all of them. This is my belief, and what I'm sharing with other people, and they're resonating with it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited because the people that I bring to the show have their own journey and their stories that they share, because we're put here for a reason and a purpose. We just have to find what is that purpose, and it brings hope to other people. Because when I left corporate America, it's like where I am today, and from 2015 today, I never imagined I'd be here today. Back in 2015, I was like, what am I doing? Where am I going? Because I wanted to be able to have a different sense of purpose and reason. And then when I leave this world, there was something that I contributed to. And working for corporate America was just not it, because I was filling their pocket and not mine.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love that. I love your story, again, and talking about getting out of that comfort zone, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, right? Being comfortable with being uncomfortable is where the magic happens. I say it
Right.
all the time,
Yep.
right?
True. It's true.
And it's so crazy because when you start saying yes to your passions and to the
Yeah.
things that you were put here and just made to do,
Yeah.
your whole entire life, everything
Oh, yeah.
transforms to a point where you don't recognize it. It is completely unrecognizable.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
you're absolutely true on that. And we've heard this many, many times before, where it starts with loving yourself. Right.
absolutely. Yes.
And I didn't love myself until I was in my early 60s. I'm going to be 70 next month. And once you can embrace that, accept for accept you for who you are and what you're all about, then I say Pandora's box opens to a plethora of different things. And it's just amazing, because as you start to level up, there are more and more opportunities out there, and you build that confidence, which is what we should all have. And it's not being taught early enough because we're robots. We grow up to be robots, go to school, get an education, and go work for somebody and be a puppet, and so that all changed. And it really, I woke up to the true state of affairs of what's really going on out there. And it's a shame. It's really a shame because there's so much potential that people have, but they've been pushed down in their lives and their careers, and not given that chance. And they've given up. They've just given up.
Yeah. They need to tap into more people like, yourself, myself, those that can really just, be that wind, but beneath your wings to push you and let you know that you can do anything and everything that you put your mind to. It just takes you just doing it, right? And we have a mentor and friend, Michelle Mupo, that says, I don't think, just do. Sometimes that is what it takes, is to just don't think about it, don't second guess it, just get out there and just do it. So
absolutely.
So Jeffrey, it's always such a pleasure to have you on the show, taking center stage here. Is there any words of wisdom, words of encouragement that you want to end with today for our audience?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. So what I'm going to say is that right now, September of 2024, we are in a very, very peculiar state of affairs, if you will, and it's all over the map. And my recommendation, and what I want to share is keep an open mind. Don't let people push you down if you have strong beliefs. Explore, because the world is changing. It's changing underneath your feet. And think about where you were 30 years ago and where is the world today. A lot of things have changed. So it's all about evolving with those changes, adapting to the changes that you want to adapt to, and then so you can move forward. But the biggest thing is keep an open mind and keep it open to receiving information, that you do your own due diligence. Don't listen to people that are telling you need to listen to this, you need to do this. No, you are the CEO of your life. You make the decision for yourself.
That's right. You are the CEO of your life, people. Yep. Definitely. So thank you again, Jeffrey, so much for joining me. Thank you for being a part of the Phoenix Fitness Fanatics family, as well as the Own It Publishing family as well. Everyone, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. And please, if you want to hear more from Jeffrey, definitely connect with Jeffrey. You can connect with Jeffrey at... Let's see, I went ahead and got that on the ticker there. So you can connect with Jeffrey directly. He's got his phone number there as well as his email. So 239-337678 or Jeffrey at jeffreyeberger.biz. Connect with this guy, I'm telling you, because if you want to transform and physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, got some answers for you, y'all. So tune in.
Let me add one more thing. If you're gonna use my phone number, text me first and mention this show, because I get probably 50 bogus phone calls a day. If the number isn't there, I don't answer it. Just FYI.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We will definitely see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.